What if the person who was meant to heal your heart was standing right in front of you the whole time? Amy Fleming has been through things that would break most people. She lost the love of her life. She raised her daughter alone. She kept showing up, kept writing, kept going even when the pain felt like it had no bottom. And just when fans thought her heart was closed for good, Nathan walked in, and nothing has been the same since. Now season 20 is here, and the entire Heartland fandom is asking one question louder than ever before: is this finally the season where Amy stops holding back? Is this the season where she stops standing at the edge of something real and actually jumps? Because the signs are there, the moments are there. The chemistry that fans have been screaming about for seasons is still there, and it is not going anywhere. But here is the thing. Heartland has broken our hearts before. This show has pulled couples to the very edge of something beautiful and then yanked them back without warning. So before you get your hopes up, you need to hear everything. The updates, the clues, the cast hints, and the one detail that changes how you read every single Amy and Nathan scene from here on out. Stay with this video all the way through, because by the end, you're going to have a very clear picture of where this romance is truly headed and whether season 20 is finally the payoff that fans have been waiting years for. To really understand why Amy and Nathan feel so important right now, you have to go back. Not just to last season. You have to go all the way back to the moment Amy's world fell apart. Ty Borden was not just Amy's husband. He was her person. The one who understood her in a way that felt rare and once in a lifetime. They built a life together at Heartland. They had Lyndy. They had horses, land, family, and a love story that millions of fans across the world had been rooting for since the very beginning. And then he was gone. Just like that. A moment that shocked not just Amy but every single person watching. What followed was some of the most honest and painful grief storytelling this show has ever done. Amy did not bounce back quickly. She did not move on in a neat and tidy way. She struggled. She poured everything into Lyndy. She buried herself in her work with horses. She leaned on Jack, on Lou, on the land itself. And for a long time, the idea of letting someone else in felt completely impossible, not because she did not want connection, but because loving Ty so deeply made the thought of opening up again feel like a kind of betrayal. That is the emotional weight Amy carried into every season after Ty's death. And that weight is exactly what makes her connection with Nathan so layered and so complicated. Nathan did not show up and immediately sweep Amy off her feet. That is not how this story was written. He came in quietly. He earned trust slowly. He showed up in the right moments without pushing. And somewhere in between all of that, something started to shift in Amy, something small at first, almost invisible, but very real. Fans noticed it before Amy even admitted it to herself. The way she looked at him a second too long. The way conversations between them felt easy and warm in a way that surprised her. The way Nathan never tried to replace Ty, he simply existed as himself. And that turned out to be exactly what Amy needed to slowly, carefully, start opening a door she had kept shut for years. And that is where season 20 picks things up. Not at the beginning of something. Right in the middle of it, at that fragile, electric point where two people know something is there, but neither one has said it out loud yet. Here is something the show did that most fans do not talk about enough. They did not make Nathan easy to love right away. And that was a very deliberate choice. Think about it. If Nathan had walked into Heartland as this perfect, charming, immediately likable guy, fans would have rejected him. The wounds from Ty's loss were still too fresh. The audience was still grieving. Any man who showed up looking too good too soon was always going to feel like a threat to something sacred. So the writers did something smarter than that. They made Nathan complicated. They made him a little guarded. They gave him edges. They gave him a past that was not fully explained right away. And in doing all of that, they gave fans a reason to be curious about him rather than immediately defensive. That curiosity is what opened the door, not just for Amy but for the audience watching her. Because the more you learned about Nathan, the more you understood that this was not a man who was placed in Amy's life to fill a gap. He was placed there to challenge her, to quietly ask her without ever saying the words out loud whether she was going to let fear make every decision for the rest of her life. And that kind of presence is far more powerful than any grand romantic gesture could ever be. Nathan has his own story, his own scars. He knows what it feels like to carry something heavy and still have to show up every single day. That shared understanding between him and Amy is not something that was forced or rushed by the writers. It grew out of two people recognizing something in each other that they rarely let anyone else see. That kind of connection does not announce itself loudly. It just quietly becomes impossible to ignore. And that is exactly what has happened between them. There is also something worth pointing out about the way Nathan exists in Amy's world specifically. He does not try to compete with her history. He has never once made Amy feel like she needs to choose between honoring Ty's memory and moving forward with her own life. That might sound like a small thing, but for a woman carrying the kind of grief Amy has been carrying, it is actually everything. It is the difference between feeling suffocated by a new relationship and feeling genuinely free inside of one. The show has been very careful about how it frames Nathan around Ty's memory. There are moments where Ty is referenced and Nathan does not flinch, does not get uncomfortable, does not try to redirect the conversation. He just lets Amy have those moments fully, and then he is still there when the moment passes. That kind of emotional patience is written into his character in a way that feels very intentional, like the writers are slowly, quietly making the case that Nathan is not a replacement for what Amy lost. He is something new, something that could only exist because of everything she went through. Now add to all of this the fact that Nathan is genuinely good with Lyndy, not in a performative, trying too hard kind of way, in a natural, unforced way that children always see through adults about. Lyndy is sharp. She is her mother's daughter. And the fact that she responds to Nathan the way she does tells you something important about who he actually is beneath the surface. All of these layers together are what make Nathan matter in this story. He is not just a love interest written in to keep Amy's storyline moving. He's a fully drawn character who earns every single moment the show gives him. And heading into season 20, all of those layers are about to be tested in ways that fans have been waiting a long time to see. The question is no longer whether the connection between Amy and Nathan is real. That ship has sailed. Every honest viewer knows the answer to that. The real question now is whether the two of them are finally going to stop being so careful with each other and let it be what it clearly already is. There is a skill that every serious Heartland fan develops over time. It is the ability to read between the lines, to catch the things the show is not saying directly but is absolutely saying in every other way possible. Through a look that lasts a half second too long, through a conversation that stops just before it becomes something more, through the way two people stand close to each other in a scene where standing close was not actually necessary. Heartland has always spoken in that language. And right now in season 20 it is speaking louder than it has in years. Let's start with what we actually know. Season 20 was confirmed, and that confirmation alone told fans something important. This show has been running for a long time, and it does not get renewed season after season by playing it safe. It gets renewed because it keeps finding emotional stories worth telling. And the creative team behind Heartland has made it very clear through interviews and press conversations that season 20 is focused heavily on growth, on characters stepping into new chapters of their lives rather than standing still inside old ones. That is not an accident. That is a deliberate signal about where the major storylines are pointed, and Amy's storyline sits right at the center of that signal. The people who make this show understand something that casual viewers sometimes miss. Amy Fleming is not just a character. She's the emotional spine of Heartland. Every major tonal shift in the show runs through her first. When the show wants to go darker, Amy goes through something hard. When the show wants to feel hopeful again, Amy's story is where that hope shows up first. So when the creative team talks about season 20 being a season of new chapters and forward movement, pay attention to what that means for Amy specifically. It means the writers are ready to move her somewhere she has not been before. Now look at the casting decisions. Nathan is back. That is confirmed. And here is the thing about how Heartland handles characters. This show does not bring someone back for a significant role without having somewhere real to take them. They are too careful with their storytelling for that. Nathan's return is not a background appearance. Nobody falls in love easily on Heartland. That is not a criticism. That is actually the whole reason this show has lasted as long as it has. Because it understands something deeply true about real human beings, that the heart does not just open up because the timing is right or because the other person is worthy. It opens up in spite of fear, in spite of history, in spite of every logical reason to stay protected and stay still. And the journey through all of that resistance is where the most powerful storytelling lives. Amy and Nathan are not at the finish line yet. And before this season gives fans the moment they have been holding their breath, for there are real obstacles standing in the way. Obstacles that are not manufactured drama for the sake of it. Obstacles that are deeply rooted in who these two people are and what they have both been through. The first and most honest obstacle is one that never fully goes away. Ty's memory. Not because Nathan threatens it. Not because Amy has done anything wrong by feeling what she feels. But because grief does not operate on a schedule and it does not ask for permission before it shows up. There will be moments this season, quiet ones, unexpected ones, where Amy is right on the edge of letting herself fully be present with Nathan and something pulls her back. A memory, a place on the ranch that holds a moment she shared with Ty, a look on Lyndy's face that reminds her of everything that was lost. These are not roadblocks placed there by bad writing. They are the most honest part of Amy's story. And the show will not skip over them just to get to the romantic payoff faster. That tension between honoring the past and choosing the future is the emotional core of everything Amy goes through this season. And it is going to hurt before it heals. The second obstacle is Nathan himself. Because here is something that does not get discussed enough in fan conversations. Nathan is not without his own walls. This is a man who has his own relationship with loss, his own reasons for being careful. His own version of standing at the edge of something real and finding reasons to step back from it. The connection between him and Amy has always had this particular quality where both of them can clearly see what is there and both of them keep finding quiet ways to not fully acknowledge it. That dynamic works beautifully as slow burn storytelling. But it also means that when the moment of real honesty finally comes between them, it is going to require both of them to be brave at the same time. And getting two guarded people to be vulnerable simultaneously is never a simple thing. The show knows this. And it is going to use that difficulty to make the eventual breakthrough hit as hard as possible. The third obstacle is one that lives outside the relationship itself. It lives in the world around Amy and Nathan. The ranch, the family, the community that has its own feelings about Amy's life and Amy's heart. Jack has always been protective in that quiet, powerful way of his. Lou has opinions. Lou always has opinions. And the people closest to Amy do not always make moving forward easier, even when they mean well. The external pressure of everyone around her having feelings about her personal life is something Amy has navigated before, and it is something she will have to navigate again this season. Sometimes the people who love you most are also the ones who, without meaning to make it hardest for you to step into something new. Now here is where everything comes together. All of these obstacles, the grief, the shared guardedness, the outside noise are not reasons why Amy and Nathan will not happen. They are the reasons why it will mean something profound when they do. Every single wall between them is a wall that the story has been building toward tearing down. Every moment of resistance is a moment that makes the eventual surrender to what is real between them carry more emotional weight. And the evidence across season 20, the structural signals, the character positioning, the deliberate pacing of their scenes together, all of it suggests that this is the season where the walls finally start coming down in a way that cannot be walked back. Not all at once. This is Heartland. It will not happen in one dramatic moment in episode 1. It will happen the way everything meaningful happens on this show, slowly, quietly, and then suddenly in a way that makes your chest ache because you realize you have been watching it build the entire time. There will be a scene this season, and fans who are watching closely will know it when they see it, where something shifts between Amy and Nathan in a way that feels permanent. Not a kiss necessarily, not a confession laid out in perfect words, but a moment where something unspoken finally gets spoken. Where the careful distance they have been maintaining suddenly feels less like protection and more like a choice. And where choosing it stops feeling possible. That moment is coming. The show has earned it. The characters have earned it. And the fans who have stayed with this story through all of its heartbreak and its hope have absolutely earned it. So here is the verdict. Will Amy and Nathan's second chance romance become official in season 20? Based on everything, the storytelling arc, the character development, the seasonal framing, the energy surrounding this storyline from everyone involved in making it, the answer leans more toward yes than this show has ever allowed it to lean before. It may not be wrapped up with a neat bow by the season finale. Heartland rarely works that way, but the movement will be undeniable. The shift will be real. And by the time season 20 reaches its most important emotional moments, Amy Fleming will be closer to choosing her future than she has been at any point since she lost Ty, and Nathan will be right there. Patient as ever, real as ever, exactly where he has always been. So here we are. We have walked through everything. Amy's grief journey and the long road she has traveled to get to this point. Nathan's character and why he is so much more than just a love interest written into the show to fill space. The signals coming out of season 20 that suggest the writers are finally ready to push this story somewhere that fans have been waiting for. The obstacles that stand between these two people and the real honest breakthrough that has been building for so long. And the verdict that all of that evidence points toward. But here is the thing about Heartland that makes it different from almost every other show in this space. The facts and the analysis only tell part of the story. The other part lives entirely in how this show makes you feel. And that is not something anyone can measure or break down in a video. That part belongs completely to the people watching, to the fans who have given years of their time and their heart to these characters and this world, to the people who cried when Ty died and kept watching anyway because something about this show would not let them go, to everyone who has found themselves quietly rooting for Amy to be okay, not just as a character on a screen, but in that deeper way where fictional people somehow carry real feelings for us. That is the Heartland effect. And it is completely unique. So now the floor belongs to you, because the most important question left in this conversation is not what the show is going to do. It is what you actually want it to do. Do you think Amy and Nathan becoming official would feel like an earned and beautiful next chapter for her story? Or does part of you still feel like that step is too soon, like the show needs more time before it takes Amy fully into something new? Is Nathan the right person for where Amy is right now in her life? Or are you still not completely sold on him, still watching carefully before you give that part of yourself over to this storyline? There is no wrong answer. This fandom has always had space for every kind of feeling about Amy's journey, and it always will. But here is what would make this conversation genuinely worth having. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments section right now. Not just a yes or a no. Tell the story. Tell us where you stand on Amy and Nathan and why. Tell us what moment from the show made you start believing in them, or what moment made you pump the brakes. Tell us what you are hoping season 20 delivers for Amy Fleming more than anything else, because the comments section on a video like this one is where the real Heartland conversation happens. And that conversation is always better when more voices are part of it. If this video gave you something worth thinking about, a like takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this kind of content reach more fans who are asking the exact same questions you were asking before you clicked play. And if you want to be part of every conversation like this one as season 20 continues to unfold, hitting subscribe and turning on the bell means you will never miss a single update, breakdown, or theory as the story keeps moving forward. Because this season is far from over. There are more moments coming, more shifts, more of those quiet Heartland scenes that hit you somewhere deep and stay with you long after the episode ends. And every single one of them is worth talking about. Amy Fleming has been through the kind of pain that changes a person permanently. But she is still here, still writing, still showing up for the people she loves and the life she has built. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, Nathan is still there too, patient, present, real. And maybe, just maybe, this is finally the season where that is enough for both of them to stop waiting and start living. Season 20 is here, the story is moving, and the best moments? They are still ahead.